Let us first understand that GDP is generally measured by two processes. One is PPP, that is purchasing power parity, and the other one is nominal exchange rate. Here we would limit our discussion to PPP, which is better to size up the domestic power of an economy. According to a study by US banking group CITI, India will be the world's largest economy within 34 years. Indian GDP in 2050, measured by purchasing power parity or the PPP, will be $85.97 trillion. China in the second place will have a GDP of $80.02 trillion and the US with a total GDP of $39.07 trillion will occupy the third spot. With an estimated population in 2050 of 1.63 billion, India will thus have a per capita income of over $53,000, in the range of today's wealthiest countries like Switzerland and Norway. Sounds too good to be true. Of course it is. The CITI study relies heavily on India's two dividends, demographic and democratic. The demographic dividend will ensure that India has the largest number of working age people in the world, that is over 800 million, between 2015 and 2035. A large number of working age Indians between 18 and 60, however, will be less than optimally productive if they remain poorly educated and are therefore unemployable. To gain from our 20-year demographic sweet spot, education reform must clearly top the government's agenda. Infosys mentor Narayan Murthy was partly right when he said that the standard of IIT students has fallen. It has. Too many are rote learners, spewed out by coaching classes, not creative thinkers. The second dividend CITI banks on to project India's rise to the top of GDP rankings in 2050, especially in comparison with China, is democracy. China's autocratic government can command 10% GDP growth, build superhighways, and create gleaming infrastructure. But beneath the towers and the maglev bullet train tracks of Shanghai lurks social tension. As China's per capita income rises, its 1.34 billion people will increasingly yearn for real freedom, a free press, an open internet, and most crucially, a democracy. If the Chinese government can't deliver on these, that could plunge China into years of uncertainty. Throughout history, as countries grew richer, they grew freer. Will China prove an exception? Unlikely. India's democracy is a double-edged scimitar. Our raucous open society takes us two steps forward economically and then one step backwards. But if the governance reforms, land, electoral, judicial, and police are implemented quickly, the stage could be set for second generation economic reforms that will turn our democratic institutions into assets for long term economic and social growth. We'll then move from a culture of high subsidies leaked to corrupt middlemen to a culture of high productivity. Another process is that we must allow FDI in retail, introduce hybrid agricultural technology to double crop yields within a decade, modernize infrastructure, make land acquisition fairer to farmers, improve healthcare, pass enabling legislation to unleash the entrepreneurial energy of small and medium enterprises, which are the backbone of our economy, and implement tough, effective regulation to clean up business practice.